Last episode, I built a giant suspension bridge to connect my island theme park to the mainland, where today we're going to be making a start on our industrial district. So far in this world, I have built a few small farms in my construction site, a couple more surrounding our inverted coaster, and a tree farm by our log flume. But as we continue to expand the theme park further, we're going to be needing a whole lot more resources. And I've concluded my life will be a lot easier if I could spend less time resource gathering. And that is where this new area is going to come in. The plan is fairly simple. Build some small farms in a new district outside the park to generate resources that I can then use to build bigger and better versions of these farms in the theme park, themed around all the rides and the attractions we're going to be adding. With that in mind, I should probably make a list of the farms I plan to put over here and actually start planning things out to make sure there's enough space. And it's not an exhaustive list, but that pretty much covers it. So we're going to have to automate all of the shinies, so iron, gold, zinc, copper, all things like that. Also the not shinies, so cobble, gravel, sand, dirt, terracotta, and blocks along those lines. I want to automate the create components because they're a pain to make, and we also want to automate other blocks such as scoria, limestone, diorite, granite, and just the other sort of core building blocks. I also really need to automate food a little bit better. I mean, we've got our egg sandwich maker, but I kind of want a bit more variation if I'm honest. And on top of that, we're also going to need power and storage. So we do, of course, have a whole lot of power and a massive power station over on that island. But, well, that's a different island. It's very, very far away. So I think we're going to build our own power source over here specifically for the industrial area. That just kind of makes sense. And although eventually I may ship these resources over to the theme park to a main storage area, for now, I think we're going to have a self-contained storage just for this district because I don't plan on actually having this area chunk loaded or anything like that. I learnt my lessons last season with chunk loading. So when I want to top up the resources, I will need to AFK over here, but I've got no issue with doing that. So having a nice big storage facility for everything we produce over here just seems like a really good idea. So there's a whole lot of farms I want to be building over here, which means I should probably have some kind of central control system as well, because it's unlikely I'm going to need all the farms running at the same time. I mean, some resources are going to produce quicker than others, and I'm probably going to be using certain things more than other things, and that means we're going to need a nice control system. So that's a whole lot of stuff, meaning we're going to need a whole lot of buildings, and at the moment, this land doesn't really lend itself to that. I really don't like these big hills we've got over here. I've got no issue with the land being at different levels. I do kind of want to work with that a little bit. But the current levels we have are not ideal. I mean, the bridge comes in too high for a start. So that means I've got a whole lot of terraforming to do to get this area ready to actually build on. So let's get to work. Taken a good few hours and it's a bit rough and ready, but this is definitely going to give us something to start working with. I've flattened out the top area here. We're going to have a lower level down here as well, which as you can see I have not touched whatsoever, but I have blocked it in all the way around. I've not left any square edges or anything like that. It is all just stone, dirt and grass at the moment, although that bit over the back there still needs to grow, and this patch here, but it's a much better canvas to be working from than we had before. And over time I will sort out the rest of this coastline, make it all look nice, get in a bit of variation and whatnot, but that wasn't a primary concern for today. I just wanted to get a nice big building area so we can start planning things out. And something I left off my list here, which is vitally important, is of course a train station, because I am going to need a passenger train station around here somewhere. I'm thinking potentially sort of over here somewhere, overhanging this side, so it's on the left side of the track. And I also quite like the idea of having potentially the power station around here as well as the storage, and then we'll just surround all of the area around it with the factories that are going to pump everything back over here. You may notice I've also put in the train track. I just wanted to make sure that we definitely had a loop that went in and went all the way around. This side of the island I might make as like an artificial edge. I don't really know yet. So I have left this side completely straight. But yeah, I'm happy with that as a base to start our work from, although that shape there is really weird. We'll deal with that when we get out that far. For now, what I want to do is work out where I'm going to put this power station and how we're actually going to do it. And we're going to be putting in quite a lot of machines over here, so I think a steam power plant would probably be the best bet. But I do actually have a bit of an image in my head of how I want this first building to look. So I think what I might do is mark out roughly where I'm going to have a road, because I want to have a road running alongside the rail. Maybe about that wide wide or so, and that means I can start putting in the buildings around about here. And a sensible person would probably plan out the power plant before they put down a building, but as I say, I've got an idea in my head of how I want this building to look, so I think I'm going to get the building down first, and then try and jam a power station in it afterwards. What could possibly go wrong? I don't want to be building this foundation out of stone though, so let's go get some tuff and a few other bits and bobs, and then we'll crack on with this build. I mean, a sensible person would probably plan out where some of the other builds are going to go, but I'm very keen to get a building down. The foundation is now in, and there should be plenty of space. I think I want to have a car park of some sort out the front here as well, because this is likely going to be the end of the road that comes this way. So I think it makes sense to have like a little car park and a reason for the road to actually be here. But this gives us lots of space to build a power plant, and I've also snuck a rail in as well. We're going to try and build something that goes over the rail, and I don't actually know if we're going to be using this. I mean, my current plan is to bring in lava from the nether and supply the power station that way, but we might change that up. I don't really know yet, but at least with the rail going through, we do have the option to do that, and if not, it's just gonna look cool, hopefully. Next up, I need to do a bit of resource gathering. I want to grab some bricks, I want to grab some mud, I want some bone blocks, and I want some blocks that are gonna look a bit like metal. Maybe some tough or stone pillars. They work quite well as sort of corrugated steel. I don't know. So I guess I better go get stocked up on things. I've gathered together, hopefully, everything I'm going to need, and I also seem to have caught a cold. So apologies if my voice sounds a bit weird. But the important thing is we can make a start on this building. And I want it to have a few different sections. I think we're going to have one type of building material over here, which is going to be what arches over the track. And then we're going to have a couple of other segments over here, and it's all going to tie together into one big building. We're going to start off this building here with these small packed mud bricks. I think a nice sort of brown building on this side would work nice. And for this next part, I think I'm going to lighten it up a little bit. Let's just put in some blocks along here, because what I'm picturing here is like a smaller sloped building that just kind of goes up and then joins the rest of the main part of the building, and then maybe a sticky outy bit here which we'll have as the main entrance. And I think what I want to do at the back here is maybe actually make this big brown building like an L-shaped building. If we bring this all along the back here, how's that looking shape-wise? So we're going to have kind of an L-shaped brown building here. Then we're going to have the slopey bit in the middle. We'll have a second story on the brown bit, so that'll really make that pop. And a metallic bit over this side. Think that's going to work? I guess the only way we're going to know is to actually start building this up. And this is going to be inside the building, so I think it makes sense to actually have this part here a bit more open. Let's just start by building up this packed mud area. Maybe to that sort of height. That should be tall enough to get a train through. That's better. We can see the shape of the building now. And I think next up I want to sort this bit here, because this bit here is going to be quite tall, and then this building is kind of going to be in between the two, so I think it makes sense to work here next. Something like that should do the job nicely. Now let's work out this building in the middle. Placing bone blocks has such a satisfying sound, but from a basic colour standpoint, I think this is going to work quite nicely. I want to build up the top bit here next. We are going to have an extra floor, maybe two on top here. And for that, we're going to be using red brick, but I also want to use some of this brown terracotta as well. I think that could work well as a sort of divider line between the floors. But I think that's looking pretty good. It's coming along quite well, but I do want to stick another floor on top here, I think. But probably just on this side here because, well, this is going to be a power station. So I might leave this area here flat so we can stick some big old chimneys on it. And let's get to placing a whole lot more brick. Have I actually got much left? Is that too tall now? Feels like it might be a little bit too tall. So I think what I'll do to test that is get the roofs on these two bits here, and maybe that'll kind of make up for it. Maybe we should get the chimneys in as well, actually. I do want these two buildings to have flat roofs. Let's maybe stick some tuff around the edge here. Have that overhanging at the front as well. And I think on this building at the back here, I'm actually going to make it stick out a little bit as well. So how does that look? Yeah, I think that works. It's nice to have a bit of relief on there. Maybe we should do that on the front of these as well, but we'll sort that out later. I really do need to get the chimney stacks in so I can see if that building on the right is too tall or not. Which means first we need a roof surface. Just an andesite roof I think should do for now. And what we're going to do is grab some of these large andesite boilers. We're going to grab some andesite train holes. And, that's going to be a bit of a problem. Yes, I can make the middle bit of the roof a bit taller. And spacing-wise, yep, I think that's going to work nicely. The question is, how tall do we go with these ones? Maybe about there? And then we'll use the normal andesite train holes. And do I have any iron ones of these? Now, what I'm thinking is having a few of those on top. And I have made some of these streamlined smokestacks. How does that look for a chimney stack? I think that's looking pretty good, actually. Let's get another one in on this side, and I want to try something different on the top of this one just to do a comparison. So I am wondering if the darker ones at the top here might look a bit better. Tell you what, I think I do prefer the darker ones. Yeah, there we go. That looks cool. I like that. And I think these holes are not part of base create. I think they're actually from create steam and rails, or maybe even create deco for the bottom ones. Oh, create design and decor, actually, these large ones, but they do look really cool, and I love using them for chimneys. Next up, I think I need to get a roof on this lower bit here, a roof on the top, and maybe even get some windows in. Although they're looking a bit square at the moment, so I think maybe arching off the top with some copycat stairs and maybe some panels. That could look good. Let's crack on. Although I think I'm going to go have another lemsip soon. This cold's really starting to annoy me. I'll spend the next few hours feeling sorry for myself while I place the windows, added a roof made from deep slate to the tallest building, and added a small, shallow, slabbed roof to the lower part of the build. I added a few more windows, as well as an outside walkway between the two taller parts of the building, and as much as I was liking the direction it was going, it definitely needed some highlights and darker patches. So I mixed in some diorite and limestone with the bone block walls, some tough and andesite pillars alongside the stone pillars we've used already, and then I softened the mud brick wall with some brown mushroom blocks and packed mud. For the red brick part of the building, I broke up the walls with some granite alongside some other brick variants, and then I just sort of went around adding some fans and pipes and things like that just to tie the building together a bit nicer. But a few more additions to the outside with a path and a car park finished it off even more. But to really finish off the outside, I want to get some gravel in. I have not thought about this at all. Okay, we're going to need to adapt this train ever so slightly. I forgot it's hollow under there. And that was me thinking that would be really cool if we came back after that montage bit with me riding a train and laying gravel, but yeah, okay. I see how it is. Now, I think I have a fairly simple fix for this. If we just put in a station, disassemble this train, and we just need to add some deployers to the front, and that should do it. We'll set them to dirt, get these boxes loaded up, and hopefully that should solve our problem. Or not, wait a minute. These need to be one lower. That's better. Now let's just glue those on, assemble the train. Well, that's still not working for some reason. What have I done wrong here? Do they need to go even lower? I think they might do, you know. Let's try that again. And hopefully it's going to work this time. Yep, there we go. Third time's the charm. Let's just do a quick lap of this area and then we'll be good to actually start the power station. We don't need to talk about that horse. There we go. That's looking much better, and we've got a lovely building to be working with. We've just got to figure out how we're actually going to get power station into it now, but I think that's come out quite nicely. And when it does come to building a power station in here, we're not going to struggle for space. I do need to get some lights down, clearly. Let's just hang a couple of lanterns up here for now. Deal with the home invaders. Get out of it. So, for this power station, what I'm thinking is we'll probably have a few tanks here for storing lava because, well, the ceiling's not very high here. But on this side, we should be able to get in a few steam engines. 3 or 4 maybe? I'd rather have too much power than not enough after all. And then we've also got a room above this area here, and of course we've got plenty of space upstairs in this area too. So yeah, I mean, this might be a little bit too big for a power station, but I'm sure we'll figure out what to do with the other space, if anything. The important thing is it looks good from outside. Now, if we're making a power station, we're going to need a whole lot of fluid tanks, we're going to need some more steam engines, we're going to need a bunch of pipes, which, to be honest, is probably the only thing we do have enough of. We're also going to need some copper casings, we're going to need mechanical pumps. Yeah, I think we need to go craft some stuff, don't you? And thinking about it, we're also going to need a bunch more blaze burners. We've got 4 there with blazes in, and we've got 3 empty ones. So, yep, we're going to have to go capture some more of them as well. Let's get this done. That should just about do it. I've got loads of bits gathered, and hopefully that's going to be enough to actually sort out this area. Now, the first thing we're going to do is get in some lava storage tanks. Although I still haven't decided how I'm going to get lava over here yet. So that's something we're going to have to work out. Maybe 3 storage tanks for that, and I think we'll just fill them up from in front. And then we'll connect all these pipes underground later once we figure out how we're actually going to get lava over here. And I think something else I want to do is make this look nice as we go along. So maybe we can just sort of extend the bone building out a little bit. Maybe fill up these gaps between each of the storage containers. Yeah, this could look all right. And maybe a little bit of lighting as well. The zinc lamps should work perfectly for that. Right, okay, that's lava storage sorted. So the question is, how many boilers do we want in here? And do I maybe want to sink the blaze burners down so they're not visible? Might look a bit better, mightn't it? And each of these are going to be 3 by 3, so maybe let's just get some in here and maybe get 4 in. Make sure there's a nice gap below as well, because we're going to need to feed in all the pipes and all that malarkey. We want these to be max size boilers, which means these need to be 8 high, I believe. Yeah, I think that should work nicely. And each of these is likely going to need a couple of water pumps to make sure it's got enough water going in. So we'll do that down the front here. And then once again, we'll get all that connected underground as well. Now, next step, I'm going to want to be able to get up the top here. But first, I think I want to extend this wall out a little bit. So let's bring this out to here. In fact, let's stick a torch down as well, because otherwise bad things will probably happen. And if we put a walkway in at maybe this level, and then we can extend this walkway all along here and hopefully round the front as well. And then we'll work out a way that this will take us up to the top floor. I don't think I'm going to put a floor in here. I think if a train's coming in, that's probably going to look a little bit weird. But if we extend this round, we can meet up with the doors that go to the outside bits. And hopefully, if I punch a hole in this wall about here, yeah, look at that. We can get straight down into this room here as well, which I think is what I might make my control room. I don't know if it's going to be big enough, though. But we'll deal with that later. For now, I think what I need to do is work out how we're going to get stairs coming up here. And it would probably help if I brought some stairs with me. I think we've got some in storage. Let's have a look. Stairs acquired. Let's get some of these in up along this wall. And that could cause a problem. Let's just remove that and pretend it's not there. Guess we're going to have a bend in the stairs and go this way. Nope, almost. There we go. Get some safety rails on, of course. There we go. We've now got access to the top area, which is good because I need to add some steam engines. We're going to stick 9 of these on top of every tank, then attach a whole load of shafts. And there we go. All our power is going to come out on this side here. I think that works quite nicely, although I do want to fill in these gaps here. How about maybe some girders? And at the top here, we'll attach it there. And I think, can you not put shafts through girders? Is that a thing? I'm sure that's a thing. It is a thing. Perfect. That just gives it a bit more structural support at the top here. So with that in mind, let's just sort out the rest of these. And I think we could do with some lights at the front here. So how about putting a shaft and a bracket and a chain and one of these yellow tube lamps. All right, that's looking pretty good, and that should do the trick. I just need to route all the power down now. Not that we're creating any yet, but we'll get to that shortly. Now, I'd quite like this power to be, well, powerful. Going full speed. That's what I meant. Do I have a speed controller? I do not, but I think all I need to make one is that and that, right? Yes, excellent. So maybe if I replace this one here with a large cog, put that in there up to full speed, grab a vertical gearbox for in there, and then just attach all these across the front. That should work. Then I can just extend that shaft all the way down. Wonderful. And that'll be our power. Something else I'd like to do, if I do that and stick another vertical gearbox in, and then I don't have what I need on me. Typical. I need a little bit of redstone. Then we're going to make ourselves a couple of compasses, and then we're going to make ourselves 2 speedometers, turn one of them into a stressometer, have a quick nap. And with these attached to the side here, we'll know how fast we're going, which should be full speed, 256, and we'll also know how much stress we've got available. Let's just give those a little bit of support. That'll do. All right, so we're going to generate power up there, send it down here. That's all good. But what we need to do is pump water into this thing to actually get it up and running. And lava, but we'll cover that in a minute. Let's solve the water problem first, and that should be fairly straightforward. Just need to uncover all the pipes here, and we'll just make ourselves a little water tank at the bottom. Then we can just extend these pipes down a little bit and add some pumps. We'll link them all up with a bunch of cogs. Perfect, but there's something else we're going to need to add here as well, and that is a Kickstarter system of some kind, because we need to make sure at least one of these is getting some water so that the power can kick in and then power all the rest. So we're going to have a separate system over here, just powered by a water wheel, and that will make sure that we've always got at least some water going in. And to make that happen, we're just going to stick a water wheel in here, give that some power, and there we go. That's going to start pumping water just into this first plant here. Right, there we go. That's now getting a little bit of water, so... Oh, we are actually producing some passive energy, 2000 SU, and that's just from the heat from the burners. But we need to fill them with lava, because that's what's going to power these things up properly. Step 1 is going to be to add a whole lot of pipes. Just like that. And now I need to link these pipes over to the lava storage tanks, which are just over there. This general direction. Let's see if I can find the holes. There we go. There they are. So we'll bring that pipe to here. We'll just connect all these up into one big pipe. And we're going to need power for these as well. So let's just turn that way. Get a pump in there, going the other way preferably. Like that. A cog. Wonderful. Right, so that's the lava all hooked up. I've also put in a switch here because until we actually get lava pumping in, there's a little bit too much stress on the system. So we need to make sure that this lava pump here and the water pump at the other side can run independently. And then once that's up and running and got enough power, I'll be able to flick a switch upstairs and that will turn on the rest of the power plant. Now, however, we need to work out how we're going to get lava into these tanks here. And my initial thought was to use a train and then have a train that goes into the nether, brings back lava, and so on. But on reflection, I don't think I want to make somewhere that has a portal where the train goes through a portal into the nether and so on, because that's going to take up quite a lot of space. And trying to get that to not look weird could be a little bit difficult. So that leaves us with two other options. We can either make an infinite lava pool under here, but we do already have one, or we could pump the lava all the way from over there over to here. And I don't think I fancy doing that. And there's every chance we're going to need lava over here for some of the production processes we want to do anyway. So I think it makes sense just to add in another infinite lava pool below here, which means I need to dig a really big hole. Well, I made a terrible choice of where to put this. It turns out the hole is flooded. I'm just pulling the drill back up now, but yeah, we're going to need to do something about this. Don't know if I've got any sponges or not, so if not, we might have to go raid an ocean monument, which was not on my list of things to do today. Good news, it turns out we do have sponges. I forgot that we did actually get some to drain out the bottom of the boat right at the start of the series, so hopefully this will do the trick for us. Although because it's quite a big area, we're probably going to have to section it off a bit, but what I want to do is just go from the start here, because I'm not sure it's all actually source blocks. Yeah, there we go. Look, I think I've taken out the source blocks at the top, and now it's kind of flowing away. Maybe we need a little bit more missing from over here. Yeah, look at that. The water level is falling. Okay, awesome. That was easier than I thought it was going to be. Now we just need to get some lava in there. So first thing I'm going to do is steal a bit of power from over this side. Stick down a fluid pump. Then I'm going to temporarily just dismantle this part of the pipework. Bring that up here. Stick a pump in there as well, facing the other way. Then we just need a couple of cogs in here and here, and a hand crank just to lower this pump down a little bit. Okay, cool. So now what we need to do is feed lava into here, and that's going to fill up our pit for us. And the easiest way for us to do that is going to be to grab this pipe and just take it outside where we've got more space. And we're going to build ourselves a little minecart contraption here. Now, if we do that and that, and then we're just going to build on top here. And we're going to build a giant fluid tank. We're going to make this as big as we can. Just use up all of the rest of the fluid tanks I have. Which looks like it's going to be about that. Which can hold 1,224 buckets. I'm going to need to use this 10 times, but it'll do the trick. Let's just lock rotation, take a torch down, and grab that. Now we just need to steal some lava from over here, and I'm basically going to be going backwards and forwards, filling up this tank, and then emptying it into the new pit. Well, that took absolutely ages, so I ended up using up all the rest of my copper, and I've actually made 3 more of these, so we've got these 2 here, and what I'm going to do is, first off, just put that there so we don't leak lava everywhere. We're going to turn these on, pick them up, and then we're going to replace them with some more empty ones. That way, I won't need to go backwards and forwards quite so much. These can stay here and get filled up. Excellent. And we can go empty the other 2 in the meantime. But either way, this is probably still going to take me a couple of hours to actually get all of the lava in there. So I think I'm going to go do some editing while this happens. So let's just make sure that that is going into our pool. Looks like it. Excellent stuff. And then once these 2 are empty, we'll go swap them for the full ones again, and so on. And then hopefully when I bring you back in, we'll actually be ready to power everything up. Well, it took almost 3 hours, but our pit is now filled up, and I've just rewired the back here so that it'll pump into the tanks, and it'll pump into the power station bits itself, which means I don't really need the tanks anymore. But I think if we fill them with lava, at least it will look better, right? So let's just switch the direction on that. And that's now pumping lava into all of our blaze burners. Excellent. Which means I can remove all of this pipe. We'll clean that up in a moment. But more importantly, we should be able to switch this now and get full power going at the top there. They should speed up massively. Let's hope it works. Oh, it looks like I've broken the water somewhere. Ah, I'm missing a gearbox here. Let's chuck that in there. And still no water. Oh, geez. Oh, I see. I need to set that to receive. Now if I do that, then hopefully these should start getting water. Although apparently not. I think I've done these pipes a little bit wrong. Right, there we go. I've just lowered it. That should help. Third time's the charm. Hopefully that worked. Yep, there we go. We've got water now, which means we've also got 580,000 SU. Oh, that's going to be plenty. But what I want to do now is sort out a central control room. And there is a reasonable amount of space down here. I could possibly expand down here if needed. But I think I want to do this up here. Just because this room's a little bit out of the way, it feels like a nice place to have a central control room. And the plan here will be to eventually control all of the factories in the area, or I'll be able to turn them on and off individually. But obviously those factories don't exist yet, so I think I just need to get the infrastructure in for now. And I have an idea of how I want this to work, but of course it is all just going to be placeholder at the moment because we don't have any factories to actually turn on and off. But if we were to just do something like this, just have like a wall of these blocks, I can then put redstone links below, put some lights on top just to show when a factory is either on or off, and then I just need a bunch of switches, and I think these breaker switches are going to work best, but I do need to go get myself some brass. So if we put these breaker switches on here, when we turn these on and off, that's going to allow us to turn on and off the other factories. We'll of course just link up these redstone links as and when we need them. But yeah, we also want this room to look a little bit better than this, don't we? So we're just going to try something out here. If I was to do that, is that just going to give us a nice shape at the top? Yeah, I quite like that. Then for labeling, maybe we can just do something like this. And then we can just write on the signs when we know what each of these is going to turn on or off. And then lastly, I think a display board telling me how much power I actually have left is probably also going to be a good idea to have up here. Let's just hook this up through the ceiling here. Then we'll just add a few brackets for supports. And now we just need to get some numbers on this board. And of course, we're going to do that with some display links. So if we click there and then go all the way down to our little stressometer things down here, and we'll stick that on there. First up, we'll show how much is being used. That should now be, yep, there we go, displayed on this board. Excellent. We'll stick another one on to show how much is remaining, and we're going to put that on line 3. And to be honest, I don't really need a speed controller, so I'm actually going to change this one here. Not speed controller, speedometer, but I'm actually going to change that to another stressometer. Stick that in there, and that way we can link up a third one that will show us the total. And I know I could put that anywhere else on the system as well and get the same results, but I kind of like the idea of keeping it all together. And I really don't need to know how fast these things are spinning. So we're going to set this to line 5, have the total capacity, prefix that with total, and then there we go. We've got all the information we could possibly need up here. And with that, the actual power plant part of the power plant is done. We're generating power. We can control the power as and when we need to. The last thing I want to do is just get in a floor at the top here and put in a few finishing touches, really, just to get this. See, look, Enderman griefing is definitely still on. I must fix that. You're annoying and I hate you. Oh, I looked at him. Now he hates me. But anyway, I've got a little bit more building to do, so I'll see you in just a moment. And a short while later, I think I'm done with our power plant. At least for now. We've still got some empty space in there. So I have tidied up out the front here as well, just so we've got the road that comes in. This is the car park and so on. And then this is going to connect up to the main loop road that's going to go around all of the factories. But let's go check the inside, where it's empty. I've done absolutely nothing with this area. I don't really know what to put here. I mean, I kind of want to make sure that it's something useful, something related to the power station and so on. So if you do have any ideas, please do let me know in the comments. I've also added in another floor upstairs here, so we can now traverse all the way around here and give us another whole great big empty floor, which once again doesn't have a purpose as yet, but it's always nice to have a bit of extra space for things. Although what those things are, I have absolutely no idea. I've also put in some rail signals, not that I think we're actually going to have any trains coming through here anytime soon, although I mean, I could potentially use that for storage and then use trains to bring everything in and store things up there. I don't know. I think I probably want a different building for storage, but I don't know. These are all things we'll work out as we move forward in this area. Now we have power over here. We're going to be doing a lot of moving forward. I'm very much looking forward to getting some of these factories up. And good news, I think we have a solution to our sound problem, which we're going to tackle next episode. Thanks to the comments, I've discovered yet another mod, and this one actually seems to do what I want it to do, which is awesome. We'll also work out what we're doing with the drivers as well. I have seen your comments, I've seen all your ideas, and I think I've made a decision on that too. But that's all going to have to wait for the next episode, I'm afraid. I hope you've enjoyed this one, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye now.